But while we were joking about, what's a legitimate concern or complaint, one of the questions that I think is, as long as you're willing to have a grown-up debate about it, because there's actually there's a little meat on this bone to chew here, Larry. Did you think that Steve Wilks was having a bad game, or did you think that Sean McVay and Stafford were having a great game? Because I'm willing to drift into the McVay and Stafford were just on a heater in a first half, and Steve Wilks, was it the best defensive performance from the 49ers? Of course not. The expectations are greater than that. But I also think that he got caught in the wash and just trying to figure out what he's seeing there. It wasn't great by Steve Wilks, but I thought it was a lot more to do with how good Shanahan and Stafford were than any worry about Steve Wilks or this defense that you should actually take with you going forward all year.
I like what I'm seeing from Wilks as far as the timely linebacker blitzes, and I think he knows how to dial it up, when to dial it up. I asked him this week. If you go back and look at those press conferences, I asked him about Tutu Atwell and Nakua, and I just felt like there's two. When I watched that Rams Seahawks Week 1 film, I thought, this is going to be tough to stop. Why? Because Atwell is a legitimate 4-3 burner who probably plays more like 4-2-5. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in pro football, and you have to give him a lot of room. And his hands are really pretty good. You saw that bullet that he caught away from his body. He had 9 targets. He caught 7 of those footballs. And this Kyron Williams is a really underrated player. He had 100 yards combined and a couple touchdowns, and he runs hard. He's small. He can catch the ball. He's really nice. I liked him at Notre Dame, but I like him more now. But then Nakua is he doesn't do a whole lot. They'll run him on a jet sweep. They'll hit him on a little stop route. All these little short timing routes. And it's like, you don't really, scheme to defend the 5-yard stop route. And yet that's what Nakua features under Stafford, and Nakua are locked in right now. They had a great training camp together. They're on the same page. I mean, what they're doing is almost borderline unstoppable. I mean, you saw Diamador Lenore hug up in the second half and get close and make a pick and come away with some good contending where he contended for the pass and had a PBU. But for the most part, if Nakua wants to go 5-yard, 7-yard stop route or swing pass, it's virtually impossible to defend if you've got a guy like Stafford who's got a quick release, a great arm. You got a receiver that has terrific hands and is a real good route runner. When I saw that film against Seattle, I thought, oh man, this is going to be really difficult to stop, and it was. So I don't really blame Wilks for the game plan. I mean, the Niners have not gotten to the quarterback, but this is kind of the way. This is kind of a different debate, which is, should teams build their defenses or spend a lot of money on their D-line when an offensive coach with the right quarterback and the right weapons can totally neutralize your rush by just getting the ball out immediately all day? And that's basically what happened here. Nick Bosa is sitting here with no sacks 2 games in because, for the most part, the ball's come out really fast the first 2 games.
One of the comments that I reacted to yesterday on my postgame show, Larry, was that, did Sean McVay just give the league the blueprint how to neutralize the 49ers' defensive strength, which is their defensive line? And in a way, he did. Having that ball out when your quarterback hits that third step on his drop is how you have historically always slowed down a defensive line, that in a screen game. But it takes someone as skilled as McVay to draw up all these underneath crossing routes that were wide open and popped open all day long, like you were saying. And then it takes a quarterback the level of Matthew Stafford to just be as precise. And he was, Larry, Stafford played about as perfect of a first half as you're going to see in the league this year. He was outstanding.
80, I'll give you the percentage. He was 14 of 18. So 78% completion percentage in the first half against the Niners D.
He was outstanding. I mean, you just can't play the position better than he played it for the first 30 minutes of that game. And so again, is this Steve Wilks having a bad game, or is this McVay and his quarterback having a great game? I tend to lean towards the latter rather than the former. I really just thought it was a great half of football from a great head coach and a really good, possibly Hall of Fame bound quarterback. Now, to answer Steve Wilks, everyone talks about the adjustments he didn't make. Well, most adjustments come at halftime. That's why you keep on hearing the cliche, halftime adjustments, halftime adjustments, halftime adjustments. Well, the first 3 Rams drives of the second half, Larry, were punt, interception, punt. And so Steve Wilks did make those adjustments. And I thought that the single, there were a lot of moments. There are always a lot of moments that go into determining a football game. This game on Sunday was, to me, as much about rhythm and flow of an offense that you're going to run into all year. And when Fred Warner sacked Stafford on that third down, it was the first real disruption of rhythm and flow, and it's when the Niners were able to get the ball back and have their 2-score lead grow. You know, they're up by 2 scores after that. And that was the moment where I thought the game turned. Now, if you want to say that the biggest moment of the game was how the 49ers played the last minute and change of that first half and Purdy sneaking the ball in for a touchdown to go 17-17 into the locker room, sure. That's obviously a big moment in the game. But the robbery of momentum, I thought, happened on the Fred Warner sack of Stafford, maybe than any other moment in the game. I thought it was just a huge moment in the game. And Fred Warner is just playing his rear end off. I mean, he's
amazing. He's playing at a high level.
Unbelievable, side to side, in space, defending the pass, attacking the run, blitzing the quarterback. Like, if the queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard because she can move in every direction, Fred Warner is the queen piece of this defense.
Yeah, it was late third quarter, Rams on their 6th drive. It was a 3rd and 10 call from their own 25-yard line, and Stafford dropped back to pass, and Wilks dialed up the blitz, and Warner sacked Stafford on that key 3rd down, and that forced a punt. That's the thing. If you're a veteran defensive coordinator that you can't blitz Stafford all day because you'll give him defined reads, he'll pick you apart, he'll find the open guy, he'll find the weakness. That's why you got to do it, and you got to time them perfectly. And I thought that was perfectly timed. If you go to the next Rams series, the coverage was a little tighter. You had a Demo Lenore PBU against Nakua on a 2nd and 2 or a 3rd and 2. But then later in that drive, it got to 2nd and 22. And what happened? Fred Warner, once again, Wilks dialed up the blitz. Fred Warner came on a 2nd and 22 from the Niner 30, blitzed Stafford, and Stafford had to throw it away. Then the next throw, Stafford finds Van Jefferson, and Fred Warner came up and hit him so hard, the ball came out. And so they had to settle for a 48-yard Brett Maher field goal to make it a 1-score game, 27-20. But yeah, I thought those were huge for sure. The Niners, they were a little conservative possibly in the first half, but in the second half they tightened their coverage. I thought the play on the Rams' 8th drive when Stafford, was basically off balance. He was trying to go to Jefferson and Lenore jumped the route. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like Diamador Lenore, and at that point, the coverage was a little tighter, and he jumped the route, got the pick, and ultimately it led to the 26-yard field goal by Jake Moody, and the Niners went up by 10. So, yeah, I thought there was, Isaiah Oliver, made 3 really big plays. I mean, how about Isaiah Oliver in the 4th quarter on the Kyron Williams tackle for a loss where he knifed into the backfield, interrupted the direction that Williams was going in, and then allowed Armstead to kind of clean it up. I thought that was a huge play. So Oliver made 3 big plays. Lenore made some big plays. Wilks dialed up some real timely second half blitzes. Greenlaw and Warner combined for 23 tackles, 16 solo, a sack, a tackle for a loss, and 2 passes defensed and a hit on the quarterback. I mean, those 2 stack backers are, and I said it after week 1, they're in their like super prime. These guys are not just in their prime of their career; they're in like the career year portion of their career. And yeah, I mean, right now it's those 2 guys are playing at an absurd high level. The Niners are playing a lot of nickel. They're playing a lot of nickel through the first 2 games. Played 90% nickel against the Steelers in week 1. They played a lot of nickel yesterday as well.